I am so happy you're here. I'm your online host, Joelle, and you have picked the perfect week to visit us at Sandals Church Kids Online. Now, we have a lot in store for you today, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch a fun pre-show video together, then do some worship, and finally get into a Bible story. You guys, it's gonna be so much fun. Let's jump into it.
All right, friends, it is game time, which means I need you guys up on your feet because we're playing another round of Name 3, the game where we give you a topic and you have to name 3 in 10 seconds, which means if I said name 3 rides at Disneyland, you would need to name 3 in 10 seconds. Are you ready? So round 1 is this. Name 3 types of soda and go. Coke, Diet Coke, Cherry Coke. Look at that. I helped you with the very first one. Very good. And time. All right. I want you guys to name 3 things you can play on the playground. All right? You're on the playground. What are your 3 favorite things to do? This should be so easy. My number 1 would be swinging on the swing for sure. 2, 1, and time. Okay. Number 3 is this. Name 3 types of collections. You guys collect things. What are 3 types of collections? I'll give you 1, so you only have to do 2 more. Bug collection. All right, name 2 more. And time. Did anybody say rock collection? Hopefully somebody's collecting rocks out there.
Some of those.
All right. I need you guys to name 3 presidents. And go. I know you know this. You guys probably have all of the presidents memorized, so just name 3 of them. And time. Whew, this is getting fast. It's getting pretty intense. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Okay, very similar to the presidents. Name 3 states. At least start with the one that you live in right now. And I hope you know where you live. So name that one and 2 more. Hawaii is a state. And time. Very good. Okay, I want you guys to name 3 famous robots. Just 3, okay? There's like 100 of them in Star Wars alone. Think Star Wars. 3 famous robots. 3, 2, 1. How'd you do? Did you say at least C-3PO and R2-D2? All right. This is for all of you Disney Plus fans out there. I want you guys to name 3 Disney movies. And go. Ooh, old school. Very good. Yes, Pixar does count. Does count. Very good. You can just scroll over to Disney Plus. Okay, guys. On to the next one. Name 3 things you bring camping. For all of you campers out there, this should be so easy. Hopefully one of your answers is toilet paper because I don't want you guys using leaves, okay? And time. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds for this next one. Name 3 colors. Very good. I knew you'd get that. I knew that's like the easiest one. Very good. Okay, back to 10 seconds. Okay, name 3 ingredients in a cookie and go. Now, you can make cookies with lots of things, but a lot of cookie recipes need eggs. Did you say eggs? You didn't have to. Maybe you got 3 other things. Okay, couple more. Okay, name 3 things you write with. Okay, on your paper, what do you write with? Easy, easy, easy. You got this, you got this. Name 1 more, name 1, name 1. Time. Nice. Okay. Name 3. Are you ready? 3 board games. Okay? Board games. Think in your closet or your cupboard where you guys have been playing board games. Just name a couple more. And time. Did anybody say mousetrap? If you said mousetrap, we are friends now. Okay, a couple more. Can you guys name 3 things that fly? And go. Very good. Who said airplane? Raise your hand if you said airplane. Nice. That was like the first thing that popped into my head was airplane. Pterodactyl was the second. And pigs. Okay. I want you guys to name 3 sports. This is easy. Think about the sport that you play, the sport that you watch, and the one that your uncle likes. I don't know. And time. How many of you guys said soccer and football? They're like the same, but completely different. And rugby is different. And cricket. You know cricket is a sport in England, right? So you can say cricket. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, last one. You guys can do this one, I know. Name 3 books of the Bible. There's 66 to choose from. Name 3 of them. You know the first one's Genesis. You know the last one's Revelation. Just one more and boom. What's the one in the middle? What's the one in the middle? Psalms. Very good. Friends, thank you guys so much for playing Name 3 with us. We will see you for another game next time.
Bye. You guys, that pre-show video was so much fun. Next, we're gonna dive into a time of worship and sing some songs together. And then after that, we're gonna hear from the Bible story.
You will be my witnesses now. Listen up, don't miss this now. Jesus is alive, amen. Sing it back one time again. You will be my witnesses now. Sing it back if you know what it is now. Jesus is alive, amen. And he's coming back again.
When I grow up, I don't know what I wanna be, but I know that I'm gonna serve you. You gave me a mission to spread the news, so that's what I'll do. Jesus said that you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will be my witnesses, so tell people about me everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And you will be my witnesses, so tell people about me everywhere, everywhere. You gave me a mission to spread the news, and I won't refuse. Jesus said that you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will be my witnesses, so tell people about me everywhere, everywhere,
Sing it back, aim, 2 time now. You will be my witnesses now. Listen up, don't miss this now. Jesus is alive, amen. Sing it back one time again. You will be my witnesses now. Sing it back if you know what it is now. Jesus is alive, amen. And he's coming back again.
you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will be my witnesses, so tell people about me everywhere. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will be my witnesses, so tell people about me everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
In Jerusalem, throughout Judea, make the world whole like a new PNG. Los Angeles, Cairo, Chicago, and Lima. I don't mind a little bit of dust on my sneakers. Spain, England, France, and Idaho, Zanzibar, Russia, Hong Kong, and Tokyo. He gives me the power to spread his name, and I will not stop till the whole world sings his praise.
Do not be shaped by this world. Instead, be changed within by a new way of thinking. And you will be able to decide what God wants for you. And you will be able to know what is good and pleasing to God and what is perfect.
Do not be shaped by this world. Instead, be changed within by a new way of thinking. And to know what is good and pleasing to God and what is perfect. Do not be shaped by this world. Instead, be changed within by a new way of thinking. Then you will be able to decide what God wants for you. And you will be able to know what is good and pleasing to God and what is perfect.
All right, guys, we are in week 3 of our bread series, and we're talking about the world's best teacher and one of his most famous teachings. Jesus gives us such wisdom about how we can live the best possible life, and that's to live it with him and for him. You would definitely be in a pickle by not choosing Jesus. Speaking of pickles, that's what we'll be making today. Today, we're gonna look at when Jesus gave his famous Sermon on the Mount. He gives us a bunch of different ways that we can be happy, and they're definitely not what you'd expect. You'll have to wait until small group to find out what those things are called, but for now, it's time to ask yourselves that question. Who am I living for?
All right, today we're making homemade pickles, and the main ingredient in pickles is cucumbers. There's also a bunch of other ingredients that we're gonna need, like white vinegar, salt, sugar, peppercorns, cloves, bay leaves, mustard seeds, cheesecloth, and twine. Now that we have our ingredients, let's jump into the story.
So today, our story is about how being poor actually makes you rich. It all started when Jesus hiked up a mountainside. He sat down, faced his followers, and began teaching. But this wasn't just any old message. This was one of the most important messages he would teach during his entire ministry. So listen up. He said that God blesses those who were poor and realize how much they need God. Want to know what blesses really means? It's not just something to say when people sneeze. It actually means to give happiness to. So God gives happiness to people who are poor, which means people who don't have very much and know how much that they need God to provide for them. Jesus said that God gives them the whole kingdom of heaven. Then Jesus said that God gives happiness to those who mourn. Now, mourning is how you feel when someone you love dies. It's the saddest sad you could ever feel. But Jesus actually said that God himself comforts those who are mourn. He is sad when we are sad. Jesus said that the humble are blessed too. Now, being humble means knowing and acting like you are not the most important thing. Jesus said that when we are humble, we get the entire earth passed down to us. Now, all of these things that Jesus talks about, being poor, mourning, and being humble, they all have one thing in common. They all recognize that we have little or nothing to give. Basically, that each and every one of us is poor in some way. But in all of these cases, God says we are actually blessed. We get more than we can give because of him. We become rich because of Jesus. So, when you choose to follow Jesus, being poor does actually make you rich. Not just in the money kind of way, but in the heart kind of way. The world promises that being rich brings us happiness, but Jesus tells us that being poor in different ways actually makes you the most happy. Now, would you rather trust the world or trust Jesus? Who will you live for?
Now it's time for us to take our cucumbers and slice them into spears, which is a classic pickle shape. Then we're gonna grab a jar and fill it with as many cucumber slices as possible. And since we have a few left over, we can play a quick game of tic-tac-toe before we move on to our next step.
Jesus said that God blesses people who are merciful. Mercy is when you show kindness or forgiveness to people who may not deserve it. And that one can actually be really hard. Then Jesus said that God blesses those whose hearts are pure. Your heart is pure when you are only focused on one thing, and that's God. Next, God blesses those who work for peace. When you stop fighting and you help others stop fighting too, God says that He calls you His child. How awesome is that? The world is going to tell you to take revenge on people who wrong you because it's going to make you feel better. But Jesus says the exact opposite. He says that forgiving your enemies will actually bring you the most happiness. The world says it's okay to lie, to steal, to cheat, or do whatever it takes to get what you want. But Jesus says that if you focus on God, forget yourself, you're actually going to be happy. Now the world, it's going to tell you it's okay to fight with others. But Jesus says that putting aside differences is how you will actually achieve happiness.
While the cucumbers wait in a jar, we need to make a spice bag. We're going to take bay leaves, cloves, peppercorns, and mustard seeds and wrap them up in our cheesecloth. This is what's used for the pickling liquid, which gives pickles their great flavor. Now that we have our spice bag, we're going to toss it into a pot of boiling water for several minutes.
Jesus' disciples were probably amazed at what Jesus had been saying. Everything that they had been taught by others was actually opposite of what would bring them the most happiness. How had they not known this? But Jesus still had a few final things to say that would turn the world upside down and inside out. Jesus said, "People will probably persecute you for living life my way." Now, persecution is when someone treats someone else really badly because of who they are or simply for what they believe. Jesus also said, when you are persecuted for my name, the kingdom of heaven will be yours. That means that you get to be part of what God is doing. He actually said that we should be super happy when persecution and that kind of stuff happens because it means we are living the right way, which is God's way. If this happens on earth, we get a huge reward in heaven. Obviously, God's way of life isn't the easiest, but it is the best way to live. Now, when you follow Jesus, when you do the opposite of what the world says, when you are poor because you know that being poor makes you rich, you are living the best way possible. God's way of life is the absolute best way.
It's time for us to pull our spice bag from the boiling water and pour the seasoned water into our jar of cucumbers. Now we need to let our cucumbers hibernate in a dark place for 24 hours before we try them. It's been a day and our cucumbers have turned into pickles, which means we get to try them. Delicious.
God's way is not the easiest way. Sometimes you might feel unhappy before you see the blessings that Jesus promises. You have to work at it and trust God to help you and show you the way. So right now, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about what we just talked about and pick one thing, just one thing that you can do to live God's way. Maybe it's to stop fighting with others and bring peace, or to not pretend that you're the best and try being humble, or to stop thinking you can do it on your own and realize that you need God. Pick one thing and commit to doing it the rest of this week. Then I want you to go after this, and I want you to tell a friend this one thing during your small group in just a few minutes. Remember this, if you want to be truly happy, God's way is the best, even though it isn't the easiest. And being poor actually makes you rich.
Upside down, inside out. I said upside down, inside out. I'm gonna show the world how to live like Jesus. When the world says only care about yourself, Jesus says love everyone else. When the world says get everything that you want, Jesus says what I give you is enough. I wanna live in the guys only care about yourself. Jesus says, love everyone else. When the world says, get everything that you want, Jesus says, what I give you is enough. I wanna live in the upside down kingdom. I wanna live my life be just like Jesus. I wanna shake up this earth by living backwards, upside down, inside out. I said upside down, inside out. I wanna live in the upside down kingdom. I wanna live my life be just like Jesus. I'm gonna shake up this earth by living backwards, upside down, inside out. I said upside down, inside out. I'm gonna show the world how to live like Jesus. Gonna show the world how to live like Jesus.
You guys, I've had a blast today being your online host. Now don't forget, there's so much more for you to do at home on sandalskids.tv. You guys, thanks so much for choosing us, and I'll see you next week.